Hi guys, Pamela again. Hey, I want to share with you guys a couple different things that the Lord has shown me about um, the bride when the bride comes back and we're on the earth during the 1,000-year reign of Christ. You know, the Bible says that during the 1,000-year reign of Christ, Satan is bound up and he cannot deceive the nations. However, what the Lord has shown me is, it's going to be peaceful and all that kind of stuff. But there are still going to be people who don't love God, nor do they love His people. And I'll show you what I mean. Um, the Lord showed me one thing in a two-part dream. I came back to the same place. All right. In the first dream, I was in this community. It was an African American community. And let me say one thing about how things are going to be. Because there's not going to be so many people, it's going to be like villages set up. And it's not going to be that primitive like people may imagine. But that whole village or town is going to be responsible for educating their people from childhood up to college age. There's not going to be any of this going away to college thing, but there is going to be education that village or town is going to be responsible for everyone who lives there up until college age. So I was shown this place two different times. The first time I went in there and I was kind of in this inner room, and these people were having this college age people were having this meeting. And at this first time I was there, they were discussing like a constitution. It was some type of group. They were kind of discussing the constitution of that group. All right. So I got to go back. I don't know if I was assigned to find out what was going on, but I had to go back. And then the second time I went back, they began their meeting, and it was a dark inner room. It's about 30 people, I'm going to say, was in the room. And they started having this communion communion service. And I was given it was a communion type of bread and everything. And they started doing this prayer. And during the prayer, they started saying that Jesus was the Antichrist and Satan was the true God. And when I heard this, I became very disturbed in the inside, and I got up and left. And I went out of this room and went out into, and it was like a college classroom. Anyway, I went out and I could see where people were learning different things. One of the things was water purification and all this different kind of stuff. And people could recognize me. They knew who I was, saying hello to people and everything. So that was one of the things that towns would be responsible for educating their children from childhood up to young adulthood. And the other one was I was shown in that particular dream that there's still going to be people who, even though people are going to know who Jesus Christ is, their hearts are not going to be there. The other thing is, I've had two dreams of coming back to Arizona. In one dream, I had come back and people could tell who I was or what I was. And it was very beautiful there. And I could see in the distance, two small towns. All right. And I guess I had visited the towns and I said, oh, they were really nice and cute. And then there were wildflowers everywhere. And there was a restaurant and there just wasn't many people. This little restaurant was open and the pace was very slow. This guy was cooking my food and he said it was going to be ready in 30 minutes. So anyway, I go in, I'm kind of looking around and everything. And I'm in this room and this guy looks straight at me. And it took me, after thinking about the dream, I couldn't tell if this guy was serious or he was kidding. But I remember the guy, because I was dressed a certain way, my head was covered in a veil, and he knew who or what I was. He looks at me and he says, "I can't, I can't stand those sanctified people." He's looking straight at me, and he didn't necessarily have a mean look on his face, but he was just matter of fact. I can't stand those sanctified people. You know, so I think that's telling me that the people who are coming back, we're not necessarily I'm thinking the majority of people are going to appreciate, but there's going to be some people who are going to be haters. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Um, the other thing the Lord showed me was um, if there's not going to be any way, if you get a divorce, you will not be able to get remarried. You just won't, it won't be, you just won't be able to do that, because in my dream, I was going to marry someone, and we were in line, and I guess I don't know where my ex-husband was or what the situation was, but I was going to marry this guy, and the whole thing was, for some reason, there were mass weddings going on. So I knew in my mind that that day there was like 150 wedding ceremonies performed on that day. And I could see whole families. I mean, there was whole groups of families that were, attending these marriages. And sometimes it was only the husband and the wife. But then it looked like there was just whole groups of families that had survived and were attending marriage ceremony. But I was in the role of a woman who was getting married, and somehow my husband was still alive. And I guess the guy I was going to marry didn't know. So, I was all dressed in my gown with this guy, and they were they were taking pictures, and they wouldn't allow us to take a picture together. And the guy had to go find out why, and it was because I was married to somebody still, and he was still alive. Let's see, what else? That's about it. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.